Hey, and welcome to another Tech Tuesday. This is Chad from Ascension Worship. This week we've got a video that you're going to want to share with your entire team. So band, audio, video, lighting, anyone who's involved with worship. This week we're going to show you how to grow your team in quality much faster and more effectively. We're talking about team debriefs.
Hey, what do you say? Yes, it's that time again. It's Tech Tuesday.
A debrief is so simple, but so many churches either don't do it or they don't do it effectively. So the way that I would propose that you do this is that after every service, you hop up on stage real quick before the band starts packing down any of their gear. If you have multiple services, still do this after each one. And you just quickly talk about how everything went that day. And there's three things that you're going to want to focus on. What was good? What could be better? And how did we see God move? And if you just focus on these three things, especially if you're a smaller church that maybe only gets on stage once a week, and you don't have a ton of experience beyond Sunday morning, this is a way for you to learn from what was good and what was bad, and really focus on the craft of leading people in worship much more effectively. Now, a lot of the churches I work with tend to do a leadership debrief in the middle of the week. But the problem with this is that you've only got the perspective of the people that are in that meeting. So by doing a team debrief on stage with your entire worship team, you'll be able to get a broader perspective, and the information that you pass on to the team will seem less passive aggressive. So if you come up with something that you'd like to share with the guitarist the following Sunday, well, now it's been an entire week. He or she has forgotten about what could have been worked on, and now it feels kind of passive aggressive to bring it up. Whereas if you just address it all right there in front of the team, it's going to be much more effective growth because people will be able to accept that a lot better. First thing that you want to talk about in your debrief is what was good. And it's very important that you start with this for a couple of reasons. One, you're probably working with volunteers who spent their own time and their own money to be a part of this worship team, and you don't want this to become a beatdown session on what was bad. Instead, you want to give them constructive criticism and start off by focusing on the good. It's also important that you use this as a means of training your people to look for the good in the service, not just look for the bad. It is easy for a debrief session to become a excuse for overly negative people to dwell on what could be better. So we want to teach people to actively look for what's good before we move on to what could be better. Secondly, we want to talk about what could be better. Notice I did not say what was bad, but what could be better. So again, we want to keep this overall positive, constructive criticism that are little things that we can use from week to week to get better at the craft of leading people in worship. So a couple things that you need to know about that'll help you with this. One is know your team. Some people can handle criticism in a group very well. Some people cannot. So just know your team, know their experience, and know what would be appropriate to say in a group setting, or maybe something that needs to be brought up in an individual setting. It's also okay to make your criticism somewhat generalized if you don't want to call out a specific person, but if you have information that the whole team can benefit from, that's a very useful trick. The other thing to know is to prioritize your feedback, especially if this is something new for your team. You don't want to use this first debrief as a time to air all the dirty laundry that you've been storing up for years and years and years. Pick things that are going to be specific to the service that you just had, and prioritize. If you end up having a list this long, that might be something to give to leadership or to go to individuals and kind of dole some of that out. But just pick, one to maybe three things. Probably one to two would even be better, of just little easy to digest things that we can work on from week to week. And then once that's been taken care of, then you can focus on the rest. Third thing we want to look at is, how did we see God move in that service? Or did we? This is the most important part of this, because you are on stage as a worship leader. Even if I'm talking to the band, even if I'm talking to the sound techs, the lighting techs, the video techs, anyone who's involved with the corporate worship experience, you are leading your people into worship. So this is very serious that you pay attention to this. So you need to be looking around, see if people are physically reacting. Are they singing the songs? Are they raising their hands? Are they praying over one another? If none of these things are happening, there's some issues that we need to take a look at. So let's take a look at the positives, like those kinds of things. Look at the negatives. Are people walking out of the service? Are they putting their fingers in their ears? Are they being blinded by lights? All these kinds of things will be boundaries between what God has to say to somebody. And you want to make sure that you are tearing those boundaries down, not building them up. So watch your crowd and know how they're handling what's going on. Is God able to kind of freely move in the environment that you have created? And if not, that's something you need to look at. One really, really important thing that's very easy to do is keep your eyes up, look at the crowd, and I'm going to get a lot of criticism for this, excuse me. But I would suggest if you have music stands, get rid of them, because it's just another thing that is in between you and your crowd and hinders your leadership. If I'm having a conversation with you, but I'm looking off somewhere else the entire time, we're not actually having a conversation. I'm just off on my own. So look at your crowd. It's really simple, but it makes a huge difference. So we finished our team debrief. We've talked about the three things: what was good, what could be better, and how did we see God move. Now you can either finish for the day, or if you have a very large team, might be a good idea to break off into subgroups. So vocals with vocals, band together, production team. Production team may want to break up into audio team and into lighting, video, however you want to work it out. But this is a good time to have some more individualized feedback that maybe the entire group doesn't need to hear. After you've done that, if you want to do individual debrief, I think that's a very, very good thing. I like it when musicians come together. So I went to a college in Australia at Hillsong Church, which was amazing. Really, really good sense of unity between, like, the bass players would come together and talk after each service. Drummers were very, very good at having a close community, talking to each other, and also talking to the sound technician. This is a really, really good trick because, again, you're getting more perspective, especially on drums, because you've got you have more sound coming out in the house that's not controlled. It's very important for you to talk to your sound guys and vice versa so that you guys can get the best out of your instrument. So if you do this, you're going to get better. If you're a musician and you have a sound technician who is maybe not very developed yet in their ear, this is a good time for you to ask some questions about how your performance was that will help them to learn what to listen for. For example, as a bass player, a lot of times I'll use a fuzz pedal in certain faster songs that need just a little bit of grit on top. So I'll come up to the sound tech after rehearsal and after service and say, hey, was that okay? Was it too obvious? Was it not obvious enough? Was it too thin sounding? Those kinds of questions. And if I get a response back like, it was good, that usually means either it was good or they have no idea what I'm talking about. But if I keep asking those questions every time we're together, then that sound engineer is going to realize that this is something I care about, and they're going to focus on my instrument more because I care enough to ask them. And so now they're training their ear to listen for the things that I'm talking about. I'm taking any feedback they're giving me and applying that towards the situation. And we're becoming better individually. And then as a team, we're becoming better and we're growing much faster. For everyone involved in this process, I suggest that you not only accept feedback, but you expect feedback. Actively go out, ask for it. It will definitely help you in the long run. Whenever you're giving out feedback, make sure that you are always using love and respect. This is a time for you to build each other up, not to tear each other down. So I hope this has been helpful for you and your team. For real, try it out. It does work. Every church that we've tried this out at, you've seen a remarkable growth in how the team is doing with their musical excellence, with the quality of production, and most importantly, with how they were leading the people. It really, really does work. So try it out. If your church does something that you'd like to share with us that you think might be useful for the group, please feel free to leave a comment below. If you ever need us to come out and help you at your church directly, that can be arranged as well. You can contact me at TechTuesday@ascensionworship.com, and we would love to help you out any way we can. So until next time, Have a great week. Again, this is Chad from Ascension Worship. I hope this has been helpful for you and your team. Come back here every Tuesday for new information.